There is a story, a legend really, often told by the Jamaican people to their children and to anyone who will listen. A story of intrigue, murder, romance, and even betrayal. This is the story of Anniepalmer, the infamous owner of the Rosehall estate. The folklore of Anniepalmer has been told and retold countless times. I seek to give a clear picture about this lady, who she was, her motivation, and how she became known to Jamaicans as the White Witch of Rosehall. Anniepalmer was born Annie Mae Patterson, the daughter of an English mother and an Irish father, who decided to move to Haiti, then called Saint Dominique. During the peak of its economic prosperity, the Pattersons, seeking economic gain, fled to the island during a time when there was a political upheaval in Europe. That was the 7 Years' War. But social and economic opulence in the colony, Saint Dominique was known as the Pearl of the Antilles. It was a prolific exporter of sugar, coffee, indigo, and cotton. Notably, it was the largest exporter of raw and refined sugar to Europe. Its only competitive rival was Jamaica. Annie was just 10 years old when she arrived in Saint Dominique, but she was a precocious child and quickly settled into her new life in the French colony. There, she became fascinated with all aspects of her new home and befriended her Haitian nanny, who taught her the art of voodoo. You see, Annie wanted control of her surroundings, and she sought it. She was still young when her parents died and left her in a hostile environment. As Annie grew up in Saint Dominique, she experienced 2 slave rebellions. There was uncertainty and peril everywhere. The slaves at this time freely roamed the streets, and with their hearts filled with revenge, would not have a second thought about hurting or killing a white woman. It is possible that this may have been the origin of the disdain Annie felt for the slaves of the Rosehall plantation. Her only guide was a mulatto woman who taught Annie how to become a master of all the dark arts, including seduction. Annie was a very beautiful young woman with a delicate petite frame, long flowing hair, penetrating brown eyes, and creamy white skin. Her nanny was alleged to be a voodoo queen, taught her how to use her beauty and wit to get what she wanted. We know that Annie was an avid pupil. After her surrogate mother's death, she came to Jamaica looking to make her fortune here. Jamaica, as a British colony like Saint Dominique, was the jewel in its colonial master's cap, and Annie also wanted to cash in on its wealth. No sooner had she arrived, she met John Palmer, the sole heir to the Rosehall estate. Completely smitten by her beauty and charm, he proposed marriage to her, which she accepted. It would have been wonderful if Annie's story had ended here as a fairy tale. For Annie was happy, and for a while it seemed she was getting all she ever wanted. She, along with her husband, managed an estate with over 2,000 slaves and 7,000 acres of prime sugar plantation land. She loved riding across the estate and viewing the operations of the plantation. At times, she could be seen standing on her balcony, monitoring the slaves and their daily chores. Yes, she was happy for a while. It was only a couple months after their wedding that Annie became bored with her husband and the life of a little housewife. She sought other amusement, taking male slave for romps in her bedroom. More and more, her lust for the slave men grew until it could no longer be hidden. Her husband, caught her in the act of adultery and whipped her with a riding crop. Enraged by this embarrassment, Annie vowed she would take her revenge, and never again would any man have any control over her. At the right moment, she slipped poison into his coffee and killed him. Then she moved swiftly to take over the operations of the estate. Now she was free. She could do whatever she wanted with whomever she pleased. Annie married twice afterwards, but they could not satisfy her lecherous desires. She quickly killed them and inherited their wealth. It is said that all three husbands' bodies were buried somewhere on the Rosehall estate. Meanwhile, her bed was never empty, for she often enticed many slaves to her bed. She was a jealous lover. If she felt her lovers looked at a slave girl, they were severely punished, even killed. In fact, Annie could be heard shouting orders to her slaves from the balcony and would order the torture and death of any who crossed her. Obsessed with retaining power, it is alleged that she performed rituals using the bones of babies she murdered. The rumors were that she often used her potions and magic charms to woo lovers to her bed and control the slaves. She ruled with fear, her control otherworldly. She was called the White Witch of Rosehall. It seemed as if nothing could stop her, but one day she went too far. She became infatuated with a young English bookkeeper who only had eyes for a young girl named Millicent, the granddaughter of Taco, the local obeahman. Jealous and unable to win him for herself, Annie put a curse on Millicent, which caused her to painfully wither and die. Taco wanted vengeance, so he, along with a group of slaves, stormed the great house, attacked her in her bedroom, and strangled her to death. She was quickly buried in a very deep grave, and a ritual performed to prevent her spirit from rising. The slaves, however, claimed it was not done correctly, for every night they could hear the voice of Anniepalmer along the corridors, and her spirit walking with the rooms of the great house. Thus begins the legend of Anniepalmer's ghost, who persons to this day claim to have seen roaming the property. It was claimed that her ghost is responsible for their sudden and mysterious deaths of the proprietors who immediately took over the property. Employees of the newly refurbished Rosehall Great House say they feel her presence, and eyewitnesses claim she has been spotted riding her black horse across the estate. I have actually been to Rosehall Great House as a kid. We had a school tour and it was excellent. I didn't see anything creepy there, but yet I still enjoyed it. So we do have tours that give you a view of the whole estate along with the history by tour guides. So if you guys are ever interested in going to Jamaica, Rosehall Great House is definitely an ideal spot to catch up on some Jamaican history. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. One love.